Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Corey Baumeister, as always with the lovely people here at TCGplayer.com, bringing you the best content, magic singles, really anything trading card related you can think of. Bringing you another deck primer today. And before we dive into that, I got some big news to share with all of you. Instead of me doing a monthly article, I am thrilled to announce that this is going to be a weekly occurrence from now on. Much like Corbin's Mining Modern, where he takes you through those crazy, kind of wacky, super fun, interesting decks, I'm going to be kind of shifting gears and taking you towards the competitive aspect of both Standard and Modern. I really want to explore the decks that may be doing extremely well, something that is a deck on the up and up, something that I personally believe is going to be the next good deck. Even my own personal decks that I'm going to be playing at the Grand Prix level, maybe the weekend following. I'm really going to try to get the best Magic play to make sure you win your first FNM, top 8 your first GP, whatever kind of competitive level you're trying to do. I really just want to make you a better player. And I'm just thrilled that I've been given the opportunity to do so once a week instead of once a month. And stay tuned at the end of this video and leave in the comment sections. I'm doing a fun little thing. I got to name the column. So I would like your guys' opinion. I would like your feedback. And see if, we can come up a really cool name together for this column. And, the coolest couple, I'm going to give a personal shout out on the stream. Who knows? Might even be the next name of my weekly column. So stay tuned for the end. In the comments and post your favorite ideas down there. Okay, so that brings me to the deck we're going to go through today, something that I am very excited about. This deck recently just won a Moto PTQ, and I think it's attacking the metagame in a very smart way right now. If we look right now, we're seeing a lot of blue-black X decks, and what I mean by that is we're seeing a lot of blue-black midrange, blue-black control, and we're seeing Grixis, energy, everything focusing around the Scarab God and spot removal. We're seeing a couple golden demises pop up, but kind of fade away in lists. So I think this is the product of that kind of environment that our metagame is shaping up into. Really, the one way to attack those kind of matchups isn't by playing these 2-mana expensive, strong, powerful creatures or playing these 4-mana haymaker creatures. That's kind of what they want you to do. That's why all these decks have 4 Vraska's Contempts, 4 Fatal Pushes. They want you to tap out on your turn where they can spend a small amount of mana, a small kind of commitment to deal with your threats. This deck is not doing this. We're playing a full 16 1-drops, and then the majority of the rest of the deck is 2-drops that produce 1, maybe even 2 slippery creatures. I really like what this deck is doing. It's trying to take that spot removal out of the equation. You're saying, sure, you can Vraska's Contempt my best creature, which might be a Scrounger, but you still have all these creatures to beat because I'm going so wide on you. And I think this is why this deck pretty much had an easy walkthrough on this PTQ. Didn't even drop a match. So let's get to the deck list. We got our 22 land, a couple of concealed courtyards, which might look a little weird, but they're 4 Scroungers. That's the only black card or black interaction in the deck, but still serves a purpose, and it's a very valuable piece. Plus, it also creates white, so it's a low commitment. Other than that, standard lands. We got Spire of Industries because we have plenty of artifacts. Once again, help for the Scroungers mainly, and Hazoret since there's not a lot of red sources. The main land here that is exciting is Shafet Dunes. Anthem effect, along with Pride of Conquerors, is really what can give this deck an explosive edge and create those very turn 4, turn 5 kills. Now, like I said, we have the 16 1-drops in the form of Legion Landing, Sky March, the Sky March 2-1 flyer here, Toolcraft Exemplifier, and Beaumont Courier here. All super aggressive 1-drops that really put your opponent on the back feet before we even begin. I also want to point out that Legion Landing, I think, is one of the most powerful, underrated cards in Standard right now. It just hasn't seen its shell besides tokens, and tokens just isn't very good right now. In my opinion, you know, Glintsleeve Siphoner and the rest of the Scarab God army kind of eat that matchup alive. So finding a new shell for it can really boost this card up, like, into its throne, which I think it should be. Moving on from that, we got Adanto's Vanguard, which is another card that does not get enough credit. I mean, you've all played against it or with it in Limited. It just feels very unfair to cast this card. It is so hard to deal with. And I mean, there's Vraska's Contempts in the format, but Fatal Push, Adanto's Vanguard just laughs at that card. We got our Pride of Conquerors, like I said, our kind of go over the top effect. Server Exhibition, Scrounger, and Harvester all serve a purpose in making our Toolcraft Exemplifiers the powerful one-drop that it can be. Without a high artifact count, the card is not good. Moving on to that, we got our 3 Hazorets, just really the most aggressive, best god, second best god in the format. Scarab God has definitely put its impact into the format a lot more, but still, the card is very hard to deal with. It's a very good addition to this deck. I also like the 1 spicy Trial of Solidarity. It helps for Ascend, and it also boosts the team while giving yourself a little bit of vigilance, which sometimes can be relevant. Moving on to the sideboard here. Okay, so maybe the first thing you'd notice is, wow, that is a lot of ways to exile, okay? And that is a product of the Scarab God being the best Magic card in the format, in Standard right now. You've got to have a plan for it. Like I said in my article last week, if you don't plan to play Scarab God, you better have a good plan to beat that powerful god. So we got 3 Thopter Arrest, 2 Casts Out, and 2 Scavenging Grounds as our really main plan to deal with Scarab God decks here. Moving on from that, we got a Baffling End. Deal with those aggressive matchups here, maybe Snake, that 4th Harvester to really take advantage of our red matchups, and other aggressive matchups like the one we're playing now. Settle the Wreckage, another great card for the Mirror, something that is a good answer against Bristling Hydra, good card for Snake. Sky Sovereign again, Snake in the Snake matchups. Any deck where you just want to go over the top of your opponent, it's a very hard card to deal with. You know, out of the range of Fatal Push, not much artifact or artifact destruction is in the format. Like, you can Contempt it, but as a player controlling that card, you can choose when to attack with it. And I think that's a big thing. People try to jam that all the time into open mana. Sometimes try to nickel and dime them with your little stuff, force their hand, and then attack with Sky Sovereign when they maybe don't have Vraska's Contempt mana open. And I think the most powerful card here that I'm even thinking about upping in numbers is Dust Dawn. This card is a card that we saw a lot of play in Blue-White Monument, and it was very good in that deck because everything went under it. Everything went under the power of 3 or greater, and that's really what this deck does too. Nothing dies of it on our side, but it returns everything. So both sides are relevant, and it's an absolutely amazing card against like the Snake matchup. They don't bring in counter spells against you. They can't. You know, you're going too wide on them. They can't attack you from every angle. And when you can attack a deck from a different angle than they're expecting game 1 and 2, that's when you can really leverage your position with such a linear deck. So that's enough talking. I really want to get to gameplay. I hope you stick around and check out some games with white-red aggro here.